You're actually in the video screen if you want to stay with it.
Okay. Good morning, Sangha. Good afternoon, Sangha. Please silence your phones, everybody in the room, or if you have your speaker on. This Sunday, May 23rd, Heartwood. Oh, I just went out of the camera.
It's okay. Gotcha.
Hello, Sangha. This Sunday, May 23rd, Heartwood will hold the rescheduled refuge and temporary ordination ceremony during the 12 p.m. Dharma talk. Sangha members who've already participated in a refuge ceremony are welcome to participate and repeat the 5 vows. If you choose to repeat the 5 vows, please wear white and bring a flower or incense offering. Coming up this Saturday, the 22nd, from 9 to noon, please come connect with the earth and support Heartwood by lending your hands, mulching, weeding, and beautifying the grounds. If rain enters the forecast, we will potentially move the service day to Friday the 21st. Please bring gloves and any other gardening tools you would like to use. We look forward to seeing you. Retreats coming up, Wild Heart Spring Retreat with Andrew Chapman and Reverend Mike Nolshaw, May 24th to the 31st. Just a few more slots are available. Registration information is on the website. Venerable Panawati is offering a new book study, tentatively beginning on this Friday, the 21st at 4 p.m. The book is to be announced. If you're interested in joining, you can register on the Heartwood website under book study. The Novena prayers are now occurring monthly every third Thursday between 5:45 and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The next one is this Thursday, May 20th. We invite you to join us on our YouTube page. Please send your confidential prayer requests for yourself or loved ones, including pets, who are sick, suffering misfortune, or departed, to prayer@heartwoodrefuge.org. Fully vaccinated Sangha members are now invited to Heartwood for Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday Dharma. Virtue Treasures, Heartwood's new endeavor, will help us to continue our mission and social projects as Heartwood has always done and continues to do. We are looking for your volunteer support. To volunteer, email Virtue Treasures, WNC@gmail.com. Donations and Dana. We thank you so much for all the ways you help to enrich the whole Heartwood community. Please visit the Heartwood homepage and click on Giving option to see all the ways that you can help support Heartwood. Please like, follow, and share Heartwood and Virtue Treasures on all social media to help spread the Dharma and further Heartwood's mission. Thank you, Sangha.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, Sangha. We had a very inspirational, I thought, Dharma talk. On Tuesday. And Dharma Rakana talked about the stream. And before we begin a discussion on the stream, I want to have a discussion on the Dharma eye. Because the Dharma eye is something that we develop a seeing about before we actually do our work. We can't do our work without knowing where we're going, without understanding what we're seeing. So the first understanding, the first thing to see is an opening of the Dharma eye. Opening of the Dharma eye. And so what do we see when the Dharma eye is open? We see that everything that is subject to arising is also subject to going away, to subsiding. So therefore, it tells us that if we are experiencing things that are developed through or functioning by the any condition that causes things to arise, they're also subject to going away and subsiding. And therefore, they are not permanent, and we have a solution, and we have a process by which to cause them to diminish and leave our reality so that we will not be plagued by continual anger or continual anything that is a fetter or a hindrance to our progress and to our study. So that's the first thing we see, that we understand, that this too shall pass. And so we don't struggle with it, and we don't accept it as something that's permanent and everlasting in our lives. But we know that we have processes by which to make it go away. The other thing is, he talked about the stream, about being a stream into it. Now, does everyone know what the stream is that we're entering? What is the stream that we're entering? Does anyone not know what the stream is? So who would like to tell me what the stream is? No, wait a minute. Everybody said they knew what the stream was. Nobody wants to tell me. What is it, a secret? We'll keep it to ourselves? No, that's not the way to do this. So, who would like to say what the stream is? We'll keep it a secret. The stream is the utilization and application of the Eightfold Path. That is the idea of entering the stream, meaning that we are going to implement tools that are applicable to the study of Dharma, and also applicable to the understanding of the Dharma eye, which is impermanence and non-self. So we have to begin, we should begin to ask ourselves, if I am a stream enterer, and this is the first application of the study of the Buddha, stream entry. What is the first concept or application of the Eightfold Path? What does it say we have to do before anything else can be utilized? What do we have to do? What do we have to employ or enjoy within ourselves in order to be able to understand what it is that we're asking to be, we are being asked to do? if we sit here in the Dharma hall for the rest of our lives and we don't understand what the first process is, and we don't understand what we're listening to things, but we don't understand what these things are telling us, how do we implement them? How do we utilize them? How do we understand what the resultant should be? How do we evaluate our practice? Then it's meaningful. Yes. Yeah, I see. Go.
Me? Right view
Yeah.
and right intention, the first steps on the Eightfold Path. Or the other way it's often talked about, virtue, the right speech, right act. But I think it's right intention and right view. That's what I think.
Right is the first one. And the whole Eightfold Path is the stream. So that we want to understand, we want to study, we want to be clear on what is the Eightfold Path? What is the stream that I'm entering and where is it carrying me? Again, if we don't know what we're studying, if we don't know what we're eating, how do we know what it's supposed to do for us? How do we know what changes we should be able to enjoy and accomplish in our practice if we don't know what the result is, what the meanings are? So the stream, the Eightfold Path in the stream, entering the utilization of the Eightfold Path, we should then expect that there will be some arisings of wisdom and energy and success, where we don't just go through the process of doing something, through the motion of doing something, but we're the same, or we feel that we're the same person that we were a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, when we first started this practice. So, what we want to do is to work with researching and employing and understanding the whole Eightfold Path from the beginning of it to the end of it, and remembering or reminding ourselves that this is not a sequential or linear application. It is using the facet or the element of the Eightfold Path that is most applicable to us in the moment that we are existing in the moment that we are evaluating. So whether it be speech, or view, or application, we know that there's something there for each and every process, each and every endeavor that we need guidance in. That we have an implement, a tool with which to employ our freedom, our liberation from suffering and stress. That there is no condition that arises that is above or outside of the law of freeing ourselves from suffering and freeing ourselves from confusion. So the Eightfold Path is the stream. The fruit of the stream, you are called a stream winner. That you are able to implement any of the facets of the Eightfold Path as it applies to the experience that you're going through in this moment. Now that we've cleared that up, let's go back and see how we will most benefit the application of the elements of the path. What do we use, what do we do first in order to make our practice as strong and as transparent as it can possibly be? So we know that, and we talked about mindfulness. We talked about mindfulness being a tool by which we can enter deeper into our practice and benefit from our practice, free ourselves from some of our hindrances that we have in our living, in our life. So we want to begin to understand, how does doing certain things benefit us? How does doing certain practices cause us to develop clarity and purpose and ease in our practice? We don't expect, when we practice something, whatever that practice something might be, whether it be handwriting, type, using the computer, whatever it is that we're practicing, we have the expectation that by practicing it and employing it, we will get better at doing it. We will see more benefit from our utilization of it in our daily lives, that there will be some growth, there will be some relief from distress, from unhappiness, from sadness, from pain, from suffering, that we will be able to identify and repeat and we should also ask ourselves, what is my reluctancy to use it when I find I'm not using it, when I find that I'm locked into or captured by or involved in a cycle of unhappiness or sadness or moodiness or greed or ugliness, hatred? Why is it that I can't realize where I am and then employ the antidotes that free me from the behavior that I'm expressing? Why do I keep having anger or sadness or hopelessness about a situation that keeps repeating itself over and over again, the same thing? So we want to be able to know how to employ the tools that we're being given that will make those realities change and be different. So we are told that mindfulness, the practice or the employment of mindfulness, will help us with the freedom from the 5 hindrances, 5 hindrances being the things that hinder our success and our progress in meditation. So we have as hindrances, we have anger, we have greed, we have doubt, we have restlessness, we have remorse. And so, what is it that is available to us that will allow us to be free from these habitual tendencies? These things that we do every time this particular thing happens. What is it that will help us rise above our habits and be free from the things that cause us pain, suffering, and despair? Well, we are given the practice. We are offered at the very beginning of our journey the practice of mindfulness. And so, what is this? How do I know when I'm being mindful? How do I know when I'm being mindful? And how do I know what benefit is being brought my way, or what benefit that I need in my day to free me from my tendency to stress and suffer? So, greed and anger, want, desire, and anger are two of the things that we have a struggle with letting go of. They did this to me, so I feel this way about them. What can I do about that? And so the first thing is that we must take the power that we are giving to others, whether it be groups of others or individuals, that allow them to enter our reality, to enter our space of existence, and cause us so much trouble, so much discomfort, so much stress, that no one has the power to cause us unhappiness, but we cause ourselves unhappiness. We cause ourselves discomfort because we want others to see it our way. Now, there are, again, the energies of greed and anger or hate. And I can ask myself or wonder why, or wish that someone else would not hate me but love me. But what I begin to understand, and what you have to understand about this, is that this whole setup, this whole reality that occurs conditionally, is not there for me to teach the other person how to be better, but it is me teaching myself or being given the opportunity to be better and to not be impacted and affected by someone else's well, not problem, but someone else's inability to stay in that space of heartfulness and to stay in that space of kindness and compassion. It's for me to use the experience to strengthen and to develop my own compassion, my own kindness, in spite of what it is that someone else might be feeling toward me. That I am able to rise above their inability to love, to access my ability to love, and to be willing to share that energy, that capacity, at the time that they're just having a real hard time with life, having a real bad day, not being able to tamp down this runaway feeling inside themselves, this inability to touch their own hearts and share it with me. Well, here's an opportunity for me to touch my heart and share it with them. And we don't make a big deal out of it. We just do it. We refuse to employ the same behaviors, the same anger, the same tension that someone else is employing or letting go or trying to release within me. And it is my practice, my experiment, my opportunity to see how big my heart is and how much I can share with the other to help diffuse the situation. Does that mean it's going to work? Does that mean the other person is going to appreciate what we're doing? No, it doesn't. But again, then that lack of the appreciation also gives me opportunities to practice how deep my heart goes, how deep my compassion goes, and how much I'm willing to love the other, how much I'm willing to not put up with, but be a companion of the other as they struggle with their own inability to employ the love that they are inherently capable of doing and should be employing if they say that they are a good person. We won't even put it on God or on Buddha or anything else. Just that this person has indicated that they feel that they're a good person, that they're a kind person. We will not remind them of their promise or their commitment, but we will remind ourselves internally of our own promise and commitment to ourselves, to the world, and to our family. And then we will utilize that at every opportunity so that the relationship, the dance that we're doing with this person or this group of people will have an opportunity to diffuse the negativity in the room or in the space. And if it doesn't, we can walk away knowing that we tried, that we allowed the opportunity not to be wasted, but that we did our best. And then it requires that there's a love that I give, there's a compassion and kindness that I give to say, no matter what it is that I see you do, it is not understood by the other as a resolve for our differences. And since I know that right now they can't hear, they can't understand, they can't see that I'm trying to diffuse the situation, I'm not trying to make it worse, I'm not trying to say that it's their fault, I'm just trying to diffuse it. Because they can't hear that right now, they can't see my intention right now, I will stop because I can see that it only is aggravating the condition in the situation. So I will not beat them with the expectation that they should understand what I'm saying, they should know that I'm loving them, and that they should quiet themselves down. But I will quiet myself and leave the reality to move back from the reality of relationship with this individual, with this group of individuals. And I will try again at another time when they seem to be more receptive to conversation and diplomacy. We can't always talk it out just simply because we want to talk it out. There has to be that space, that acquiescence of the other to accept what it is, to at least believe that they can listen to, give me an opportunity or give a person an opportunity to speak out about how they see the problem, or how they saw the problem, or how they saw the beginning of the problem, so that there can be some agreement about not necessarily that there is not a problem, but how do we work from here? What do we do from here? How do we make it better? And when we find that both people make it better, then there's room for negotiation and diplomacy and kindness and truce. Building. So all of these things are being wrapped around our own hearts and minds while we are involved with this dance with the other. Remembering that just because I'm speaking peace doesn't mean that there will be peace. But it takes two people to fight. And that's what happens. It will diffuse the negative power, the negative energy in the room. And even though we don't necessarily move closer to an understanding of, well, we both are product of this anger and this enmity that we are experiencing. But we know that there is nothing more that we can say at this time that will make it better. So we stop talking. And we give it time to diffuse, we give it time for the other to think something about what it is that they can do, what it is they can say to make me understand their position in a better light. And I will have the love to give them that space, that opportunity to do that. What practice can we use that will fortify us, that will make us stronger in our abilities to resolve situations of confrontation or misunderstanding. Well, we go back to our practice of mindfulness, and there are these qualities that we have to bring to the table that qualifies us to say or to own the experience of mindfulness. So these qualities of mindfulness, first of all, are present moment awareness. Now, how does this help me hold on to my desire for softness and compassion and peace? Well, when I practice present moment awareness, I cannot be angry and I cannot be overrun by desire. I cannot be greedy. Why is that? Because present moment awareness means exactly what we say. I'm in the present moment and I'm aware of that moment. I'm aware of being present in the moment. And greediness and anger cannot exist in the present moment. So no matter how much it wants to arise within me, if I'm not distracted by these energies of winning, be getting what I want, but I'm only there in the practice, in the zone of present moment awareness, greediness, desire, and anger cannot exist in that time zone. So I don't have to fight that hard battle. I don't have to struggle with my need to be understood. I don't have to struggle with the desire to win. I can only employ, or all I need to do is employ what will keep me accessed in, will keep me umbrellaed in present moment awareness. And greed, hatred, anger cannot exist in the time zone that I'm living in, that I'm aware of. And so therefore, I don't have to struggle with emotions. I don't have to struggle with memories. They can't come in, they can't exist. I'm not giving them an environment to be a part of the dialogue. But I'm also not putting myself at a disadvantage of having to struggle with these truths of just living in reality. The truth that on some social level, I just don't like that guy. But I don't have to fight that. I don't have to go looking for a good thing for me to like them for. I just stay in the present moment, and that energy can't come in and exist. It can't bother me there. It can't bother the other guy there. So therefore, it's a lot easier to employ a practice, a technique that I know works because this is what I do, that will give me the opportunity to just be there without that agitation, without that upsetness that is a part of the social dynamic because for whatever reason. For all of the reasons or any of the reasons that misunderstandings occur, I don't have to be there to solve that. I can just be there and employ the process of giving me present moment awareness, and nothing else comes about. So the first thing I want to do is ask you, do you understand that? Do you see how that works? Do you believe that that is as easy as I stated it is?
Simple, not easy.
I'm sorry.
Simple, not easy.
Simple, not easy. True. But what makes it become easier? What makes it get easier?
Practice.
Practice. Right? So therefore, when I understand that my practice of this truth will make me get better at practicing this truth, I no longer fight or argue or question why is it even coming. Because I realize that it's coming because it's giving me an opportunity to get better at what I say I want to get better at. Not getting angry at you for what you do. Not allowing my day to become a bad day because someone else is having a bad day. It's just so wonderful that you become a super person, you know? Not to bully and beat up, but just not to be bullied and beat up. That the day can be what it is without me having to feel that it is what it is and I'm in such pain because of it. That my day starts out with joy because I woke up. And now I woke up and now you're acting out. And I am okay with that too. Because I decided that my day is going to be great because I've been given one. You know, and there, with all of the fires that are going on around the globe right now, and so many people are losing or have lost the battle, if you will, to exist, to have a moment of experience. They lost it. So why am I going to waste my moment of consciousness on someone else's foolishness? So please understand the gift you have and the opportunity that you have to give others love when they're not feeling love at all. And it's a great thing to do. It's a great thing to have. Present moment awareness. Now, the third concept that causes us a lot of stress and struggle is delusion. Now again, delusion is not an easy thing to see through. Because how can you know that you're being delusional by the presence of delusion? When the definition for that is confusion and the inability to see truth as it is, right? So, going back to one of the qualities or requirements of mindfulness is understanding that mindfulness is existing in the space before conceptualization. Okay, before conceptualization. Before you make it a tree, before you make it a weed, before you make it a airplane in the sky, before you make it anything, before you make it anything. And what does that do? That pulls the teeth out of perception. If I am not conceptualizing, I am not using my perception. My perception is what I use to define the moment as it is. My perception says, oh, that's this, and that you should respond to this way. Are you with me? Are you following me? Okay. If I'm not employing that tool, if I'm not employing perception, then I cannot be fooled by perception because I'm not using it. I'm not asking it to identify what this is. And of course, we know through study in mind, meditation, relationship, that our memory, our perceived knowing of what it was that happened last Wednesday doesn't work. You got two people, husband and wife, brother and sister, mother and father, arguing all day about what happened last Wednesday because they're using perception to remember and to redefine the experience. It doesn't work. This is why eyewitnesses don't work. Because they're going in to remember what this looked like to them, and it's not reliable. So living in the present, living in the present without perception or conceptual living in the moment without the perception factor involved lets you be with the experience and the reality as it truly is, not what you made it be. Because this is a part of what causes our discrepancies with others, that we don't agree with what the memory of the moment says happened. So we've freed ourselves from, or we've disconnected from the opportunities for us to be fooled by, tricked by what we thought happened, what we remembered, and we have no bone to pick. We have no argument, no axe to grind, and if the other person says it's this, well, that is before my employment of conceptualization. So I accept what it is as it is at that moment. And there's no fight, there's no argument. So, are there any questions about what those agents do and the benefit that we have by being in that state of mindfulness? How does that protect us, enable us, to be wiser in our relationship with the moment. Because the moment and I don't interfere with each other. We don't dispute each other because I take away all of the things that cause disputation in the relationship of the moment. Because it's not there, I don't use it. Therefore, it doesn't work against me and it doesn't work against the other. Okay.
I have a question.
I'm listening.
Venerable, I've started working on the concept of having present moment awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And only by starting the work on it had I realized how much time I spend actually in the future and the past.
Okay.
So do I have questions about this? I have a million questions about this, but the one that's on my mind at the moment is this something that a person can do all the time, just be in the present at all times?
Okay. Is it something that I can do all the time? Can I be mindful all the time? I can be mindful all the time by practicing mindfulness all the time. To use whatever tool of discernment that I use to be mindful in the moment, and make sure that every moment that I'm mindful, I'm thinking about that tool. I'm using that tool. I have that indicator that first of all says to me, I'm being mindful. And how do I know I'm being mindful? Because I can feel, or I can know that I'm in this relationship with senses, with form, with thought that has been used for thousands of years as the indicator for my mindfulness. So I know I'm mindful. So it's a feedback loop, right? I know it's happening because it's happening. And pretty soon, just like driving a car, I don't have to think about it as much anymore. I don't have to get in and say, oh, okay, what do I do first? Or I do that first. What do I do next? Or I check the mirror out, and I back up, and I look back, and I make sure. And pretty soon I just do that automatically. It happens, and I know it. I know I'm doing it well because I'm not crashing. So I work my mindfulness. I observe when I get caught in unmindfulness. I remind myself of how uneasy and discomforting that is when I find myself being caught by unmindfulness, which again is the inspiration to make me more mindful. So you see that loop that works? That pretty soon, even in my sleep, I can be mindful. And we have meditations for that. So the more I am mindful, which helps me catch myself in unmindfulness, frees me from unmindfulness, and keeps me in that state of clarity and mindfulness. Right? Being unmindful means that I go back to sleep and put it on automatic pilot, and I'm not there. Because I'm back in thinking about yesterday or thinking about tomorrow. So the more I keep myself here, the more I am able to stay here, because that's the way the feedback loop works.
It reminds me of when you're in meditation, how you can also observe yourself while you're meditating.
There's a knowing that a lot of people think is something, another spirit or another soul, another self that's being present there, because they ask themselves, well, who is this that's aware that I am unaware? So, but I don't ask how many angels are dancing on the hill of my pants. I just use it to hold my pants up. All right, any other questions? Down the screen yourself. All right, everybody understands, right? Okay, so what is the stream?
85.
Okay, and how do we enter the stream?
Right now.
We enter the stream by using the elements of the Eightfold Path, by employing them and understanding them, and realizing what they mean and the benefit they bring to us, to me as a practitioner. I mean, look, what's the point of doing something that at the end of the day doesn't show us that it was beneficial? You know, that I did this all day and I don't see the benefit that I got, but I did it, so I guess I'll do it again tomorrow and see what the benefit might come tomorrow. Maybe I just didn't do it enough. This mindfulness will make us examine our ability to be mindful. Because again, it's on the feedback loop. So it tells me how mindful I am, and it also demonstrates, because I can also see by being mindful, that it's working for me. That it's those moments when you say, you know, when they said that to me last week, I got really angry at them. But not now. So I know that I employed it, and I know that for me, it's working, which gives me the incentive to stay mindful to use it again the next time, because this is something, a dynamic that really worked, that really caused me to have a nice day all day long. And I don't know about anybody else, but for me it works. And what that does, it also does an element that when we have a friend that comes to us and says, hey, I've got this problem, I just can't seem to work it out, I can't seem to rise above it. You will have the confidence to say, have you tried this? Mm-hmm. And the reason you're recommending that is because you tried it and it worked for you. You don't have to go cold at anything. You don't have to guess, well, maybe I should tell it this, maybe. No, you say, this worked for me, and maybe it'll work for you. Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
How do you understand sort of confusion and delusion? Because in one sense, it seems like to be deluded or confused is just to not see truth as it's unfolding like in front of us. But in another sense, confusion is like, you know, there's a part of me that says I want to be fit, and then there's the part that's like sliding in the cookie jar, and the part that can't, that wants to be fit, that doesn't see the part that's looking for the cookie jar. You understand what I mean? Like there's confusion can be like opposing parts of ourselves, sort of sliding in different directions. And I know like what you're saying basically is like the employment of the Eightfold Path and its tools is sort of a platform to the clarity that the stream brings, right?
It requires that we ask the question, why is it that I didn't leave the lid on the cookie jar? Why did I allow the temptation to stay and linger as I got a cookie? Why didn't I stop myself from getting that cookie? When you cannot find an answer to that question, you know that you're BSing yourself, that you're being deluded, that you're suffering from a that you're suffering from the delusion of believing that you want to get in shape, but you don't really want to get in shape. You just want to tell yourself and others that you want to get in shape so they don't ask you why you keep eating all the damn cookies. You're looking for an excuse. Well, when I finally asked myself that question, because again, the loop requires that I ask the question, why do I keep eating these cookies? Because I really like cookies more than I like being healthy. And the one person you can't lie to, but you got to ask yourself the question. I mean, as long as you ask the question, you're free. Like, but once you really ask the question, why do I keep eating these cookies? Because you like the cookies more than you like feeling good. And so then you make a decision. Do I still eat cookies, or do I stop lying to myself? What is my purpose for stopping in the first place? Is it a health benefit, or is it just to shut up my partner so that they stop criticizing me for eating cookies? But you get to that point where you have to deal with the truth of it. And there is where you have to admit to yourself that, well, I just like cookies. And I'll just be a little pudgy guy, or a big pudgy guy. I would look back, and when I ask that question, and when I get that answer, then that's when I stop lying to myself. And I realize it's me that's my problem. It's not the cookies, because the cookies didn't jump out the jar into my hand and into my mouth. I went and got one. So it's not the cookies that's the problem. It's not the cookie jar that's the problem. I'm the problem. And I've got to either get right with myself or accept the fact that this is who I'm going to be. Either way, you come into that space of wholeness and purity and truth. And then you work from there, but that's where you got to get the truth before you can get anything else. To thine own self be true. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. It has to do with you. And the cookie jar is metaphorical. Right? I know that. You're not talking about cookies, you're talking about a whole lot of things. But if you keep promising yourself and others that you're going to change and you don't, then you're being delusional and you're lying to yourself and you're lying to you. You use the Eightfold Path to fortify to strengthen your ability to keep your promises that you make. And you stop making promises that you can't keep. Because in the bottom of your being, you have so much love for yourself and for the other that pretty soon you know how much you've hurt them by continuing to tell them that you want to do this because you know that it's good for you, which means it's also good for the other. But pretty soon you get tired of it because you will realize that this isn't the right thing to do. And you go back to the path, to the stream, and it talks about correctness. It talks about how to act correctly, how to take the elements of living and separate them so you can find out what it is in the elements of living that are corrupt in you, and then you know which element to work with to strengthen your resolve to be honest and to be forthright. Okay? All right, so come on back to the stream. Which are you out of? Right view? Right this, right that, right the other? They got something there for food too. Okay. Thank you for the question. Anyone else? Okay, you got it? May all beings, well, first of all, thank you so much for coming and sharing your energy today with all of us. May all beings be liberated from suffering. May we be well. May we be happy. May we be peaceful. Thank you again. Be the light in the world that we need for the world. And love you very much and see you soon.